Welcome to Outlook Video. I'm Gabrielle Antolovich, and we have Shane Coda here, who is an amazing writer, actor, performer, who has written a book called Queer Conversations.
Yes.
So tell me, are these queer conversations with other people or with yourself?
So, Queer Conversations, the book itself is about coming out stories and dealing with the hardships of coming out. And so these are really conversations I've had with people growing up, people that I've met, family, friends, strangers in different gay communities. And that's what inspired me to write these monologues and these poems. Mainly wrote it to encourage our youth that are currently struggling with coming out or any hardship that they have with identifying as an LGBTQ person. So that's really what it was written for.
It's interesting to me because as an older person who's struggled coming out, it really hurts to know that young people are still struggling. What is that about?
Right, and actually in the book also, I had a friend tell me the same thing. They even said, aren't we done telling our coming out stories? The older generation's done that. But the sad thing is, if you look in today's news, all the bullying that's going on and the unfortunate youth suicides, it's just horrible. Yeah. So I really wanted to be a voice here in the San Jose community and let our youth know that, hey, I'm living proof that's been through it, and other people have been through it, and you can definitely make it through. These hardships aren't going to last forever, and it does get better.
Yes, it really does. I know, and I'm glad a young person like you is out there doing that it's not just us old people. So I have an interesting question. On the cover of the book, you have split up your face. And I find that so strange because you have such a beautiful face. I'm a photographer, so really appreciate the look, and yet you cut it all up.
Well, thank you for that compliment about my face. But the main thing was I didn't want the focus too much to be, if you can look on the spine of the book as well, there's nothing written there. It's very plain. I want the focus to mainly be on the stories inside. But the reason that I did the split face as the cover is because a lot of these stories, I'm in one or two different stories, so it's really different parts of myself. Because the experiences in these stories are not just those of friends and family. I mean, I've dealt with homelessness, I've dealt with drug addiction, I dealt with being thrown out because of living in a religious household. So a lot of other people's stories in there are also similar to mine. So you're seeing a lot of my own life in that. So that's why the split face, because you're seeing different parts of myself throughout the entire book.
That's interesting. As an artist, that compassion and melding with other people's experiences is what really makes an artist, right? And not only have you written this book, but you also perform it. So how do you do that?
So let me just say that the inspiration came from one night when I was watching an HBO special of Eve Ensler, who wrote the Vagina Monologues. And I saw she originally did it as a one-woman show. And I said, this is a very interesting story, what this woman is doing with the Vagina Monologues and empowering women. I thought, why couldn't I take LGBTQ stories and do the same thing? And so that kind of was the inspiration for it. And so I've done, as you know, a reading at the DeFrank Center in June as a Pride event. I've done an event at the Youth Space here in San Jose. And my goal is, right now it's on Amazon, and the goal is with the funds raised from the selling of the book to do more performances in 2019, rent out local theaters, perform it for the community, maybe take it to other cities. I have a acting troupe, all volunteer acting troupe of friends and actors that I know very well. They do theater here in the Bay Area, and they're all interested, on board to do this, and that's the goal, definitely.
That's exciting because in a funny sort of way, it's combining art and activism. Do you see it as that?
Absolutely. And I definitely want my voice and, the community's voice to get louder and stronger, and definitely want to encourage youth to do the same and to realize that you do have a voice and you can use it to promote, the quality of life and happiness of life as an LGBT person. So
Do you have a second book in you?
right now I'm actually working on a book of poetry, all poems, and it's actually going to be poems that I've written since I was a young teenager, all the way up to now. And you're going to get to see, the feelings I had back then up to now and the change, and you're going to see it go from dark to light, because I did have a lot of complications as a teen, going through so many different, so much turmoil in my life. And some of it is in this book, but in this poetry book, it's going to be all about that.
Oh, that's interesting. So that'll be more personal.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is more how you relate to other people's stories.
Right.
That's right. That's interesting. So you got your feet wet with this one.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to dive in the second
Yes,
one.
absolutely.
Yeah, it takes courage, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It was a long process because I wrote these stories years ago. And at the beginning of the year is when I first thought about self-publishing. And, you have your doubts, but in the end, the cause and the reason that you're doing it, is the most important. And when I actually did the reading at the DeFrank Center, I had a young man come up to me afterwards and tell me, he goes, your story is my story. And that right there is the whole purpose that I'm doing it for.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't wait. Thank you. You've been listening to Shane Coda.
Thank you. We will continue to rise up and speak out for those voices who are not heard, for the men and women in distant lands that face oppression, for the children that are hurting, trying to find their place, to eliminate prejudice and to celebrate diversity. Let us not forget the reason why we march, the reason why we celebrate. We will continue to unite, we will continue to dance, and we will fly our flags with dignity, honor, and self-respect. We will move forward and strive for a better future, for a change. Know that you are good, you are beautiful, you are amazing. We are the LGBTQ community, and today and forevermore, we are proud of who we are.
Yes. Yes.
We love to get mail from you.